common ground here in the world in general. So we'll start with the relationships between men and women and how we look at each other. So, first question for your second marriage. What do you think was the biggest issue in it?
The only emotion he can show was anger. And that was hurtful.
All right, let's pull it back a little bit. So it's the first year of you guys meeting each other. How long after you guys met did you get married?
Oh, wow. 4 years.
So you knew him for 4 years before you married him?
Yes.
When you guys got married, did your relationship change at all?
Well, let me say something.
Go ahead.
After 3 months, we were dating after 3 months, and I didn't want to be with him. I didn't like the person he was. I'm not going to say, but he didn't leave me alone. But it's more like he never left my house.
Wow.
So...
Were you guys just friends at the time, or?
No, we were dating.
Okay.
So my mom, I lived with my mom because I just moved down from the city, and I met him a year after I was down here, and my mom was getting mad. She's like, he's got to go home. So I would say, yo, you got to go home. And he would not get up and go home. And then I go downstairs and my mom gave me this evil look, you know. And I'm like, Mom, it's not my fault. So after we were together, you know, he tried very hard. He thinks that the more money or the more gifts that you give someone, that's showing love. It's not like, you know, I saw something on Facebook, you know, a girl goes to her boyfriend and says, can I have $20 or can I have money? And he says, he gives her $10 because that's all he had. And then she goes to the other guy that's not her boyfriend and he gives her $20. And they say, well, he gave you $10 because that's all he had. But the other guy had $100, so he only gave you $20. And it's kind of like that. That's the way he feels. The more you give, just give, then that's love. So the more money you spend on somebody, the more you love them. And I don't agree with that at all. Because there's so much more. But in the end, that's pretty much why I stayed.
Just for the financial security?
Correct.
Okay. And so 3 months in, you knew that you didn't enjoy him personally.
Right.
But during that time when he was like just hanging out at your house, was he supplying for you financially at that time as well?
No.
So what made you stay? What made you like stick around?
Well, he was a lot of fun.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, so we would do all these outdoor activities and oh my God, wonderful things, you know. And he was one with the surprises, you know, which I loved. So I was kind of in the middle, like, well, he's got these bad points, but he has these good points.
Right.
So I was confused. Up until today, I think I've always been confused about it.
Do you think today you just reached some sort of epiphany about it?
Well.
Of all days?
Well, no, I thought about it a long time. We're together 25 years.
Wow.
So I thought about it a long time, and we were together, but we weren't together. Like, I lived my life and he lived his. But, you know.
You both kind of knew about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, he did his thing, I did my thing, whatever. And, you know, if I worked 2 days a week, it was a lot, and I never really had to work, and he always paid the bills. So
it seems like you have a knack for picking what society would call good guys.
Well, he's not a good guy.
Why isn't he a good guy?
Because beside the only emotion that he can show is anger, myself and my children, they always come to me and say, he makes me feel like I can't do anything right. He's like, if he says, could you get that for me? And you don't drop everything and get it, then he gets up, stomps his feet. Oh, forget it, I'll get it myself. Mm-hmm. You can't just drop everything for somebody. You know, come on, chill out, you know? And that was difficult for me because it always had me on edge. So as soon as he asked for something, no matter what I was doing, I put it down and if I would have said to him, give me a second, oh, forget it, I'll do it myself. So do it yourself. Mm-hmm. And if I had to go to the store or something and he said, this is what I want, I would literally take a picture of it and send it to him and say, is this it? And he'll say yes, and I'll buy it, come home, and then it's wrong. I mean, he really had bad ways.
So there was just a lot of like emotional and verbal abuse, it sounds like.
Verbal abuse, yes.
Okay.
He called me names. He cursed at me constantly. So toward the end, it was like, yeah, this ain't working.
Was he always like that, or did it just start at the end?
Always was like that.
Was it always bad, or did it progress toward the end?
I guess it progressed slowly. Unless it was just like when I had my daughter, he wanted to go with his friends, snowmobile, whatever. And he thought he had to stay home. And I was like, dude, you have a life, You come home, you'll be with us, It wasn't like my first husband never was home. So that's when everything pretty much went downhill, because then he found his life with his friends.
Okay.
So
he spent a lot less time with you.
Yes, but he'd come home at night. He was always home. He didn't like my first husband, work all the time and then leave me home. He came home. He was home every night, not too late. So he did come home, but he found a life without me and his daughter. So.
Okay. Wow. Do you think there was anything he could have done to... Well, first let me ask you. So you were married for 25 years. That's a long time. I'm sure there's a lot of things that you are forgetting. It's possible.
Things I want to forget.
Right. Sure. 25 years is
a lifetime.
Longer than most men have been alive. Most people have been alive.
Thanks.
So, no, that's amazing. The fact that you guys stayed married for that long is, to me, amazing, because a lot of marriages don't make it past the first, 5 years now?
Something like that, yeah.
So, I will always just be amazed at that. But when in the 25 years did you say, I want to just do my own thing, and when did he say that as well?
Unspoken words.
Really?
Unspoken words. Nobody talked about anything. You get up, good morning, good night, see you later, have a nice day. Nothing was ever discussed, and that's why I feel communication.
Okay.
Because I've tried. I tried crying, yelling, talking. I even wrote notes to him. Long notes.
Right.
Nothing.
And what was his approach to receiving those?
Nothing.
He didn't say a word about them?
Not a word.
About even receiving them?
No, I would say, did you get the thing I wrote? Yeah. Okay, so what do you think? Yeah, I understand. That was his favorite phrase. Would anybody. If he doesn't want to answer the question, yeah, I understand. So he doesn't have any confrontation. So that was frustrating. So I did try. I tried to communicate with him.
For men, it's a little weird because, we really can't allow ourselves to be kind of, taken to an aggressive level. So a lot of times what we'll do to cope with that is we will be verbally abusive to cope with the fact that we cannot hit a woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not making excuses for how you were treated, obviously, but if there are any women out there that have a verbally abusive man in their life, they should try to ask him why he's doing that and try to get to the bottom of it, because a lot of times, like I said, we're just so mad and we don't know how to process that anger. So we instantly go to like the most foul thing we can say to kind of hurt our lady's feelings. This is in the pretty much the pinnacle of anger for most men. There obviously are the assholes that will punch a woman, but this is for just the guys who would never punch a woman. So just moving forward in the marriage. So what time frame in the marriage did you guys just start moving away from each other? How many years would you say?
Well, probably when we were 4 years together.
4 years.
Yeah.
So basically, in the time frame of 4 years, the marriage was like in shambles.
Pretty much.
Okay.
It's like I always say, it was doomed from day one.
And you wanted out, but you stayed for financial reasons.
Correct.
So he seemed like a decent enough guy all across the board, except for the fact that he was emotionally and verbally abusive.
The other reason, I think it was on both parts, that we had our daughter.
Mm.
And she's 19 now. She's going to be 20. So once she hit that age, he felt, okay, we raised our daughter. So, that's when he, really started to have his own life.
Wow. So, what do you mean by he had his own life? Like, can you just elaborate on that for us?
Yep. We get up in the morning. Well, like, I get up way before him. And I would leave, so I didn't see him in the morning.
Right.
And then he come home way after me.
Mm-hmm.
So I really didn't see him at night. But I mean, we would sit and talk and whatever. Like, we would talk all the time. But it was just like living with a roommate that you loved, because there's feel love.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but, he was, I don't know. I could say that good stuff about him, but I try to think, I always try to give the person, like, I always try to see the good in people. And that's not a cliche. That's the way I am,
Mm-hmm.
And that was also the other thing that was kind of bouncing me back and forth. But again, it was the gifts and the financial stability
Mm-hmm.
and, stuff like that. So I do this to myself because I try. So it's like pushing and pulling at the same time. So I don't like to, feel that I'm being unfair. So I try to be fair, but it usually gets me in the ass anyway.
Was there any infidelity within the first 4 years of the marriage?
The first 4 years? No.
So the first 4 years, you guys were 100% what America would view as a perfect marriage.
I don't know about perfect, but
On the
we were
outside.
married.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So when, if any, when did the infidelity start?
When my daughter was 6 months old, I met somebody. And I really fell in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't work out. I told Cliff about it, and he wanted to make the marriage work. So I said, okay, we can try again. And after that, it was just like it's always been. Come home, go to sleep, leave, wake up, whatever.
And how many years into the marriage was that when your daughter was 6 months old?
5. We're together 25 years. We're married 20.
Okay.
So she was about, she wasn't born yet. So I think about 5 years.
Okay, 5 years in. That's a decent amount of time to have a good marriage, I think. It's probably more than most. But so when you had the infidelity and he accepted that there were flaws in the marriage, did he treat you differently afterwards?
For a little while.
Did that affect you?
It did. I was like, oh, great. He's really trying. This is fantastic. It didn't last long.
Oh, so he treated you better afterwards?
Yeah.
To try to, like, mend the marriage. And then what happened after that?
You start going back into your old ways. Just
Which
like
were
everybody else, making me feel stupid, making my kids feel stupid, yelling about do you know how many times my kids did something and I would take the blame just so he wouldn't yell at them? So many times. So, yeah, and you're right, it did progress worse as time went on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that he was not in love with me.
Ever?
He says yes, I say no.
Wow.
He's the type of person that any girl that he goes out with, he's in love with and wants to marry. Straight up, I'll tell you right now. But I forgot what I was saying.
I was asking you if he treated you differently afterwards.
Oh yeah, we took a vacation and he took me out to like things that I've never done before, and But if he would have kept treating me good like that, between taking care of us financially and giving us a life and having fun together, it would have been different. But my daughter always wanted to be with him. So she grew up with him and his friends. And she's seen and heard a lot of stuff she shouldn't have.
Oh, wow.
So I tried to keep my daughter close to me. And for the most part she was, but anytime he went somewhere, she wanted to go. And now she's grown up with too many grown-up thoughts because she's seen too much.
Right.
So that's what happened too, because when she was old enough and she wanted to go everywhere with him, he didn't need me to go because he had her. So that sucked too. I didn't like that so much.
Wow. This is a lot to unpack. So, is it safe to say that around the first 4 to 5 years, you guys were both kind of mentally checked out?
Yeah.
So, what made you guys stay in that relationship for another 15 years?
I have no idea.
So, what were the 15 years like? I'm just dying to know.
Well, I moved out for 3 years, and he had got a surgery, and a month later I had a surgery, so I had went to take care of him, back to take care of him, and I was there already, so I just stayed. There's really I can't give you an answer. I can't give you an answer.
Was there at least at that point in time a sort of friendship between the two of you at all?
Yeah.
Okay. Was there still any love between the two of you?
Not like in love.
But just as a friend, like a friendship kind of love.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Like I can never imagine seeing my life without him, even till today, even everything that's going on. I always thought, and you don't have to have a good marriage, and it doesn't have to be a mate, but you can have a soulmate.
Okay, wow. That's powerful.
Even your best friend. You know, so I always saw him as my soulmate. I always thought ahead in my, visions in my head, and it was me and him growing old.
Whether you guys were in a relationship or not.
Yeah.
Do you still feel that way?
Well...
Because I know you had some sort of epiphany today.
I want to feel that way, but I know he hates me pretty much.
So at this point in time, you believe that he hates you more than you love him?
Yeah.
All right. I got to be honest with you. It sounds like you still have some sort of connection to him. It doesn't have to be.
I do. I really do.
Have you spoken to him about this? Do you feel like you can?
I spoke to him about it, but right now, he realizes the marriage is over and he found a girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Believe me, he can. He has every right to be happy, but he just is not doing it the right way. So right now, things are very tense. Mm-hmm. And it seems like he doesn't even want to talk to me.
All right, let's pull it back a little bit here, just so we're clear here. So he did not cheat on the marriage before you. You cheated on the marriage first.
Right.
But you're saying that he caused it with emotional and verbal abuse.
Correct.
You felt like you guys weren't as close as you were previously. Okay.
That I wanted to be.
But he forgave you.
Yes.
And was a lot nicer to you for a time,
mm-hmm.
and then he went back to normal. So that was at approximately 5 years. What happened after that, and how did you get to the point where he now has a girlfriend, and you kind of still love him as a friend, but he doesn't even want to treat you like a friend? How did you get from the point you were at 5 years to now at 20 years?
Well, our anniversary was in November.
Okay.
And then he started seeing somebody early in the year. So he had given me a card for our anniversary. And it was a nice card. I was really surprised, I love you crap, And then he tells me he met this person and he's in love with her. And I said, how do you love me in November and a couple months later you're in love with someone else? And since he's been with her, he just turned his back on all of us. On me, my daughter, my son, just all of us.
And the son is from the previous marriage?
Yes.
Okay.
He was always very good to my son from the previous marriage.
I just don't understand. Is this his first, a woman beside you since the marriage?
As far as I know, I really don't know.
Do you think he could have cheated on you before and you just didn't know?
See, this is the thing. We don't consider it. If he had a girlfriend, I don't care. Just don't put her in my face.
Yeah.
So if he had a girlfriend all those years, I wouldn't know it, and I don't really care. You come home, we talk, we're civil, that's fine.
So essentially what you're hinting at is you guys kind of had the understanding of an open relationship.
Okay.
But you just come home and, you just do your family thing.
Unspoken words.
Unspoken.
Yes. We don't talk about anything. Hello, goodbye. No emotions, no nothing.
Wow.
Unspoken words. Yeah, and I had my own room. We sleep in separate rooms. We've been doing that for 16 years.
What?
Yeah.
That sounds honestly. So you guys had separate rooms since before you found someone else that you were interested in.
No.
16 years, yeah, that would be around the 4 or 5 year mark.
Yeah, you're right. There was a reason, though, that we both agreed on, but I don't think it was the real reason. He's a night owl, and I'm not. And he would watch TV and keep me up, and then he says, you snore. Mm-hmm. So I loved having my own room.
Does any of this sound strange to you, just as far as being married and then sleeping in separate bedrooms?
Yes.
Or that's strange?
It's very strange. You shouldn't. That's not a marriage. That's not nothing.
It's so weird because I know multiple marriages that end up like this, and I just kind of wonder. It almost seems normal. Like after a certain amount of years, it almost seems like the two people that are married can no longer stand each other. But what is it that keeps these people together? Like what is it that kept you guys? It couldn't have only been financial gain because, you know what I mean? There had to be something else involved.
It was just the security.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when he told me about a girlfriend, I got very upset because I was scared. Like, he's always taking care of me. How do I live without him?
Mm-hmm.
So it was scary. But, you know, I can say it was all financial, but it really wasn't.
I don't think it was either.
Because I mean, I do love him. I still love him. I just love him in a different way. But I just felt like I said, a connection, like obligated is really the word I'm looking for.
That makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, obligated, that's what I felt.
You felt like the two of you were obligated to kind of grow old together.
Yeah.
And that you felt as though there was an unspoken agreement kind of to
right.
that. See, that's really, really deep. I think that's probably the case for a lot of married couples where things aren't going as well as they had hoped.
And that's why I always say communication is important, because I didn't have any with him. If he would have communicated with me, things maybe would have been different. But
as far as the love and like the perfect marriage, you mean? If he had communicated from...
I don't know if it'd be perfect. But...
This drip a different flavor, man. I'm dripped in flavors, man. My fits be tailor-made. The threads I'm stunting in custom, American tailor-made. You think you styling with like Poseidon? I made the wave. Italian food on dinner plates, the goldest of gold.